I've been hoping lately.
Hooping for a scooping.
Exactly.
You couldn't stay away.
I can't
You had to come back.
immediately. Yeah,
Well, here we are.
here we are.
We got the janky mic set up because I forgot mine like an absolute hooligan.
And we have the trash uh webcam
Yeah, because the
because
camera died.
yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
So
So upgrades coming soon. You might as well just turn off this video if you're watching it and just give it a listen.
yeah.
We don't even know if the audio quality is going to be good,
Yeah,
so
we
this may
have
just be a janky episode, but it's okay. So we're
yeah.
just we're just here for good times.
Yeah, I like it. I do like the setup though, like how it looks.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's nice.
yeah. It's aesthetically,
I it's
we're in a new
yeah.
space, so
This is probably the best I feel like it's looked, minus
yeah,
the bad quality,
yeah.
the darkness, the
Right.
yeah.
Improvements coming soon is the point, I think. Let's get into this thing, man,
Yeah,
because we were debating some episode topics. We were like, let's do a ranking of the Kanye discography
right.
because we did the Taylor Swift one,
Yeah,
we did the Vultures review. We're like, let's go through his albums.
right. A little bit of controversy there.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, for sure. And then we're like, oh, but the new Bryson Tiller comes out.
right,
Let's maybe do that one.
right.
And then J. Cole
Cole
had to go, drop a surprise album.
might
And
go
here
later.
and here we are.
Here we are.
We're listening to we listened to the album.
We did.
Let's break this thing down
I'm
because
in.
there's drama aplenty.
I love drama.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Only when it's people I care about.
Right.
Yeah.
So walk me through your this album comes out, what's going through your head? Walk me through this experience.
So you're the reason, and I won't say the only reason because James ended up texting us later,
Right.
but he only sent us 7 minute freestyle
Mm.
because he likes J. Cole more. So he sent that and then said GG, as in way better than Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for a whole different time. So you were the first one to text me. I was with some of my buddies, and I stopped what we're all doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, J. Cole dropped. Like, first of which I didn't expect really anything. We already talked about that.
Right.
Nothing. So to get a full album instead of just a diss track and whatever, I started freaking out.
Right.
I was very excited. J. Cole's one of my favorite artists. So the only thing that I ever expect from him is, a feature here and there.
Yeah.
But then I'm just waiting for the fall off. Like that's what
Right.
we've known.
Right.
So to just get some random album from him,
Yeah.
I was stoked.
Right.
So that's where I was at. I was very excited.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you for sure. I will say I was super stoked just to get new music, new J. Cole.
Yeah.
But I will say I was a little, I don't know if disappointed is like too strong of a word, but I was like, oh, I thought we were getting the fall off next. Like not that I think this album's gonna be bad, like before listening to it, but just
Yeah.
in that I was like, we're getting his life's work essentially on this
Yeah.
next project. And I was like,
Right.
oh, okay, we're getting like a little holdover project in between. So I was like, didn't know exactly what we were gonna get.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where I was
Honestly
at with
valid.
it.
Yeah.
So I was very curious to see if he would say anything about the whole situation.
Right.
Um, being is that it just the timing was pretty impeccable. I was like, there's got to be a little bit of something on
Right.
there. And yeah, we got that.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was pretty good too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's talk album production here. Our first category, because this is something that I feel like J. Cole isn't really known for necessarily.
Right.
Like that's not for sure what the Cole World fans are primarily coming to J. Cole's music
Yeah.
for, right?
Yeah.
So I will say on this project, there's some solid moments, I feel like production wise. There's
Right.
some cool beat selections. You can tell like the financials went into it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's not, like downloading free YouTube beats or anything. Um I think the sample of Drake's old song Energy on 7 Minute Drill
Yeah,
is pretty sick. And then I think the like siren sound background on Crocodile Tears is also pretty cool.
yeah,
I will still say in a world when we're getting like utopia soundscapes and we're getting like that level of stuff, and even like if for me at least, the
yeah,
Metro Boomin project, I know that wasn't your favorite. Hit Boy's been doing crazy stuff with like Nas and Benny the Butcher lately. Just in a world when we're getting so much of that, I did feel like it wasn't quite that level of production.
right.
But for a Cole project, I felt like it was pretty good. It is something that I still feel like for him could take his great projects to like the level of classics.
Yeah,
Like he has a couple classic albums in my opinion for sure, but like when you're looking at a project like this, the bars are great, but I feel like classic production would just make this album like
yeah,
much more memorable to me in the
yeah,
long term. I ended up giving it a 6 overall.
yeah. That's valid. Like I agree. He's not known for production. Now, that's not you know disrespect, and that's not saying he's not good. Like
Yeah,
he has plenty of production where I think is phenomenal. It's just not a consistent basis, like your Travis Scott, like your Metro Boomin.
right.
Um, but I think on this album, it's what I expected, and then like a couple tracks here and there, like a little bit more. Like I was like, okay, like this is dope. Like
Yeah.
the beat switch in 7 Minute Freestyle. I loved the sound clips he got. Like when um when I first started listening to Hunting Wabbits
Hmm.
and the Looney Tune soundbite came on, I stopped it real quick, prepared myself. I was like,
Hold
ain't no way he just did that. This is about to go
on.
fire.
Yeah,
And that is one of my favorite tracks on the album.
for sure.
But yeah, I like so there were a little bit of aesthetically pleasing things
Right.
that he put into it.
Right.
But I do still expect production to be top notch, especially if you're a big name like Cole. Like
Yeah.
so, I mean, I was super harsh on Metro
Yeah.
last week. I gave it a 7 just because it was in my realm of enjoyment. Like
Yeah.
I do enjoy those kinds of beats, and like I said, it's what I expected, and with a little bit
Right.
extra. So
Yeah, for sure. Did you give it a score for this one?
yeah, 7.
7? Oh yeah, duh. Just had a stroke apparently. Um, well, let's get into another category here that he's not really known for per
Right.
se. But let's talk vocals. Um, I think Cole has a sneaky ability to do more than is expected for him vocally.
Yeah.
He for sure comes across as a guy that's just like bars, bars, bars,
Yeah.
straight bars. But there's a few moments on this project and on other projects for sure where it's like he will switch his flow up a little bit or he'll switch up his vocal tone. Like another very subtle one is on Crocodile Tears again when he kind of goes for this more not mumbly, but like less articulate, less like enunciated
Yeah.
form of his flow there, and it's a little more downtrodden in terms of his
Yeah.
like vocal aggression. Or later on the album, I can't remember which song it's on. He even does like a little more melodic vocal stuff over
Yeah.
some like island style beats and things like that. And I think it's cool to hear him branch out a little bit from what maybe I feel like I kind of confine him to and what I
Mhm.
feel like is his realm, so to speak.
Yeah.
But in hearing those kinds of things, I do feel like he's giving me this little taste of like, oh, he can do more.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really explore that too much.
Mhm.
He kind of sticks in the pocket for the most part. He
Right.
does what you expect for him on most every song of the whole album here.
Yeah.
There's just a couple moments where he does branch out, and it's pretty cool.
Right.
Um, I do think that he could maybe do so a little more exploration, and I would enjoy that. But overall, like, I'm not expecting the Weeknd's vocals. I'm not expecting like Travis Scott's quality of auto tune. I'm
Right.
not like expecting that going into a Travis or into a J. Cole album. And so in terms of what I expect from a Cole album, I give it like an 8. It's
Yeah.
pretty solid.
Right. Yeah. I gave this one a 7 too. It's basically the exact same reasoning for what I gave production. Like it's exactly what I expected with a little bit extra here
Yeah.
and there on different tracks. I think his voice sounds great just in general. Like there's some artists where one person might say, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible," but the next person is like, "No, this is
Yeah.
weird." Like a
Mhm.
Tizo touchdown. Like
Mhm.
some people very like cool with the
Vibe with it.
voice, yeah, but others are like, I guess, like
Yeah.
no. But like I feel like Cole just it's a very calm there's a great calmness to his voice, like
Mhm.
almost always. And I feel like even in this album, he didn't really come harsh
Right.
ever. Like even in 7 minute freestyle, like
Yeah.
when he's dissing, he's not even like coming at
Yeah.
Kendrick like he means it. He's just
Yeah.
like very calm in the entire album. So,
Yeah.
but I really like that. So I did just give it a 7.
For sure. For sure. Respectable work, I feel like, in terms of the production and the vocals when it's not what he's maybe quote unquote known for, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But let's talk about maybe what he is known for here with his lyricism. This is what a lot of fans put him in like the greatest current rapper debate for.
yeah,
Um, I think this is a very nearly flawless project in terms of that.
yeah,
I think we've seen him over the past few years giving us some of the greatest verses and bars of his
yeah.
career, which is impressive for someone that's done so well in his career already.
Right.
And so coming into this project, that's for sure what I was expecting. And um, you get a lot of that. You get a lot of like fantastic bars. Like I wrote a couple down here. Um, Early, I think on the first song,
Mhm.
he he talks about Dave Chappelle's special
Yeah,
and then says like you can't like uses it as a way to say like you can't cancel me
yeah,
either because like of his influence. I think is a very witty,
yeah.
simile there, like comparison. My favorite bar on the project is on, Crocodile Tears again, but he says, I'm Joaquin Phoenix, walk the line, I'm about cash.
Hmm.
Walk the Line is a movie, it's a biopic about Johnny Cash starring Joaquin Phoenix saying, I'm Joaquin Phoenix, Walk the Line, I'm about cash. The movie Walk the Line is literally about cash, about Johnny Cash.
Mine.
Just a crazy double entendre there. Super, super cool.
Yeah,
It's
that's
one of
fun.
those bars that like every time it comes up, I'm
Yeah.
vibing to it.
See,
It's
like
sick.
once I heard that, I figured it had to do with like a movie,
Yeah.
and like I was just like, it's probably cool. Like
Yeah.
that's probably a really good line, but like I don't
Yeah,
actually know.
for sure.
So
For sure. Super sick. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he always delivers here. It's hard on a, 10 song project to keep everything, like to keep that quality up every moment of every song. Um, and there's a couple moments where I do feel like maybe it could age a little corny, like the more I
oh,
listen to
100%.
it, there's always going to be a few of those, but overall I gave the lyrics a 9 because I do think it's right up there with some of the best lyrical projects you're going to hear this year.
Yeah. I gave it an 8. Um and maybe like I tried my hardest, so I listened to it all the way through twice, and I tried my hardest to like listen to the lyrics, but it was very hard because I usually just watch the lyrics on Apple. I didn't like look them up.
Hmm.
So it was very hard to like pay attention to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And so if I were to listen to it again and like actually read through what he was really saying
Uh-huh.
and started connecting dots, then I probably would have been on the same level. But I
Hmm.
mean, not saying eight's a bad thing at all, but
Yeah.
um I feel like one of those lines that will, and if it hasn't like already will or has, can't speak, age corny,
Yeah.
and that's the ABC line.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked that he did that. Like, I don't know, it was kind of cool. I was kind of happy about it.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody really even attempt rapping like the
Yeah.
ABCs.
Yeah.
It was just a very creative
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
say like I don't take L's.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
I've already seen a lot of hate about that line.
Yeah.
You know, if you hate it, you hate it.
Yeah.
If not, whatever. I just thought it was very witty.
Yeah.
Obviously there's way better lyricism throughout the
Elsewhere. Yeah.
entire album, but you
Right.
know,
Right.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, that's it's his lyrics are the main reason that like I go to J. Cole. I know
Yeah.
that's a lot of other people who really dig J.
Right.
Cole. But yeah, it's so far this with what we've talked about, this project is exactly how I expected a J. Cole album to be,
Yeah.
whether surprised or not. Like
Yeah.
this is
For sure.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah. If you hear weird rustling, I'm gonna try to fix our mic here. So it may have sounded weird for a second there. But
Anyways.
anyways, back to regularly scheduled programming here. Um, let's talk about the theme or the concept of this album because I feel like in our album reviews, this is probably the closest we've come to like a themeless or conceptless album.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like you can kind of get the vibe of what the point of the project is. And I think it essentially just comes across as like, this is a holdover project. I'm giving you some music to hold you over until the fall off.
Yeah.
I'm going to respond to some of the like attention and criticism that's been going on right now. And like, that's why I'm putting this out right now as opposed to like in a month,
Right.
but this is to hold you over until something more comes out. So I think in looking at it that way, it's it's not like a terrible concept or idea or like a
Yeah.
terrible album in that way when I do come to or when I was approaching it thinking like, oh, this isn't going to be the quality of what the fall off is going to be or
Right.
his next album or even the off season, his last
Yeah.
album. And so in listening to it, it's like when you get that kind of concept or theme from it, it's like, okay, these are most likely songs that weren't good enough to make the fall off or didn't fit the fall off. And so it's like, it's okay if I don't love everything on here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's okay if it doesn't sound cohesive, if it's a little more mixtape like, because
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Right.
So in saying that, I gave it a 7. It does run a little long for what I think a good holdover project would be.
Yeah.
I like give me 4 to 6 of like your favorite throwaways,
Yeah.
maybe.
You're more
Or
looking for like a mixtape.
yeah. Like a
Style.
little
Yeah.
EP, little mixtape, little short, just a few songs that are like, these are my favorites that I didn't put on the fall off.
Yeah.
Give me 6 months and the album will come out or whatever. And that's like good with me.
Yeah.
Um, 10 songs isn't all that bad, but like I did find myself at a couple times during the runtime being like, all right, like I
Yeah.
get the vibe of what you're getting me or
Yeah.
giving me. Um, I will also just say with the Kendrick thing here, obviously in 7 Minute Drill talking about he references him very directly, like very directly references the
Yeah.
shots that have been taken at him. But in my first couple listens of it, I was like, he didn't really say anything all that much. Like
There were like
yeah,
yeah.
he gives him a couple bars like, your album. Here's the albums that you didn't do so good on. Basically, like your recent projects aren't that good. You're barely putting out music.
Yeah.
You don't put out great features
Right.
very often anymore. You're just calling me out for attention when people are saying I'm now the best.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you're coming at me. But like, you have to think back to like old rap beefs like Jay-Z and Nas or like, Eminem
And the world.
and any number of people
Yeah,
in the early
literally.
2000s or like, maybe a more modern one is Eminem and MGK,
Yeah.
even though neither of them were really at the top of the rap game when that happened. It was a
Right.
big deal when it happened.
Yeah.
But like the shots on any of those three beefs are like insane. Or even if you look at like maybe the best modern beef in terms of like most successful diss tracks to
Yeah.
me is Pusha T and Drake. I don't know
Hmm.
if you remember that one very well.
Not really, but
Pusha T literally like exposed the fact that Drake had a son that he like was
oh
hiding.
yeah, no, okay, yeah, I do remember.
Like that's insane. That is nuts.
You don't do that.
No,
But he
but like
said
Pusha T
screw it.
did because he was like, it doesn't
He said
matter.
screw you,
Yeah,
dude.
like that's how much I don't like you. And the point of bringing that up is just to say J. Cole didn't really take any shots that were that personal at
Yeah,
Kendrick. He like kept it very business, very music, and not to do it without saying like, "Hey, you were in your prime. People were calling you the greatest. I've just hit that point in my career now where people are saying that about me.
right.
Like, don't make me, beef with you because I had a lot of respect for you." And I personally feel like it comes across a lot more as like a warning shot that's like,
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to go here. I'm not afraid to say when
yeah,
your trash is trash,
right.
but I don't want to have to do this. So like let's just,
Chill out.
you can go at Drake all you want, maybe,
Right,
or whatever.
right.
But like, we don't need to do this. Like we're, we have enough respect for each other. We don't need to do this.
Yeah,
And I do have a good amount of respect for that because going into it, I was like, all right, some good shots, but like he didn't end the man's
oh,
career. He
absolutely
didn't really
not.
even try to. And so I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah. So like, so first I'll kind of give so
yeah,
with the whole concept.
right,
I gave it a 6. Well, I think another very strong point of J. Cole is the concepts he brings to an album.
right.
Um, I don't know about all of his albums just because I haven't listened to all of his albums, but
Yeah,
the ones that I have all have solid concepts, great stories. You can follow along
right,
very
right.
quickly and very easily.
Hmm.
This one, I'm with you. It's definitely maybe throwaways or oh like these were gonna be like a single like for however long,
Yeah.
but I'll just put it all together.
Hmm.
So like I'm cool with that. Like I'm perfectly okay, and I'm
Right.
even cool with the runtime. The only time I ever have a problem with runtime is when you start getting past like
2025.
once you hit 21, you should stop. Like that and that's a deluxe
Yeah,
album.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
21 and then just if you're gonna do more, just make another album. Like
Mhm.
and release it in 7 months if you really want to.
Sure. Yeah.
Um just because I love when an artist gives us all of the music.
Yeah.
Because imagine if like uh for me another one of my favorites off this album is Pie.
Yeah.
If that wasn't there, one like wouldn't know about it. But knowing about it, it's great.
It's sick. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So I love that it's at least 12.
Yeah.
But I just you could tell that there's concept here and there within
Hmm.
songs as a whole. That's why I give it a 6.
Yeah.
But like I get it.
For sure. For sure.
Now with this whole Kendrick thing, me and my brother had a very long discussion.
Sure.
And he asked, like, who did you think won? I was like, well, Cole, but like at the same time, like neither.
Yeah.
They didn't go at each other.
Yeah. Neither of
Like
them really said anything all
right.
that hurtful.
Like Kendrick went after Drake, and that's it.
Yeah.
He said two things about Cole. He
Yeah.
said the stick line and the big 3 line.
Yeah. And let's be honest, like even the shots at Drake are not like what Pusha T or Meek Mill were saying about Drake.
Yeah,
back in
like
the day.
right.
It's like, no, you're not as good as you think you are.
Yeah.
That's kind of the extent of
And
it.
yeah, which is unfortunate. Like I do wish it was early 2000s, but at the same time, I'll take what I can get at this
Sure.
point. There's no beef anymore. It's all stupid. Anyways, and yeah, Cole is, and I mean, he says that like halfway through, like this is a warning shot.
Yeah.
But like,
Mhm.
I do like that he stood up for himself
Right.
because like even
Yeah.
though Kendrick didn't go for his neck, like
There's some disrespect there.
right, like he called him out for being on a feature with Drake and just kind of disrespected
Yeah.
him. All right, let me show you where I'm at,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna let you know disrespectfully a couple things. but we're not gonna get deep. It's not gonna get like super crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. For
I
sure.
put you on. I brought you anyway.
Who told you that?
I saw that video like the other day. I started dying. I love that video.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some crazy bars in there.
Yeah.
That one dude that you watch for
Fantano.
Mhm.
Yeah.
um our little discussion when we were talking about trying to figure out which albums it was.
Yeah.
So I do think you were right.
Okay. You
And
think
so
it's
that's how
major label albums
that's what
starting with Good Kid, Mad
yeah,
City.
that's what I saw a
He
video
assumed.
saying that
Yeah.
he assumed that it was those ones. So if that is the case, all right, Cole, hold on. Because you might you might be tripping.
If you're talking to Pimp a Butterfly,
The Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid Mad City are respectfully, in my opinion, 2 out of 10 of the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
Yeah,
And you can't
yeah.
change my mind.
they're right up there, 100%.
So I I disagree very strongly.
Because you
But
were saying you think he's just talking
I thought he just meant out.
projects he's released.
Yeah. So I thought he meant
So you thought
starting
Overly
at
Dedicated
was like
was classic.
right. And like makes sense. It's like
Yeah.
his first, so that's
Yeah.
a classic.
And then your second,
Which
Section
was
80,
was putting people to sleep, but they gassed it.
Yeah. So like,
And I was still confused because me personally, I
Yeah.
love Section 80.
right.
So I was just like, but I was like,
okay, maybe Cole
sure.
didn't vibe with that
Right.
one. Like,
and then
you know,
your last one was
yeah.
tragic, but your third one is what put you up there. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was your prime. And then it made sense to me that way. Like,
Yeah.
but if it is this like label, like big label, start from
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of dumb.
I saw in a video someone started it from Section 80.
Interesting.
And so
And
they said Good Kid, Mad City put people to sleep. And I was like,
no.
what? That doesn't work.
See, it just doesn't.
So
I don't know.
because it does get a little dicey because if you're talking like 3 albums, are we are we including the Black Panther album? Like,
right.
What kind of stuff are we including?
Yeah.
I do think personally, I have begun to feel more like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because what need does J. Cole have to focus on major label albums?
Right.
If it's available to listen to, J. Cole is going to count that and listen to it,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So maybe Section 80 isn't for him because then you have a great 3-album run from Good Kid, Mad City all the way up until Mr. Morale, which is his last album, which is
that makes so much more sense to me. It doesn't.
J. Cole.
Cole's not dumb.
Yeah.
And you talk to 90% of any hip hop fan, and like I said, those 2 albums are going to be in somebody's top 10 of all time. Like J. Cole's not dumb. Right. He's gonna respect those albums. He knows. Yeah. Like, so in my heart, it's at the start of Kendrick's career.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards now.
Yeah.
I did just off bat assume we were talking major label albums because that's like how most fans bring up discussions about artists. Who knows? You got.
We'll never truly know.
Yeah,
but
you know, to come full circle to what you said earlier, Kendrick made it very easy to like if J. Cole wanted to, he could have like ripped into him with like how personal Kendrick got on Mr. Morale. There's so much that J. Cole just could have made fun of to be a jerk.
He could have quite literally Cole could have ended Kendrick's career.
I don't know if I'd go that far personally.
So, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I think Kendrick and Cole are on the exact same level. I think they both have the exact same ability. I think what Kendrick did was a lot more than what Cole did, but especially in like rap beef, I'm not taking one over the other. I think either one could just like pop off and go neck for neck and line for line.
I will agree with you. I think bar for bar, if you're just strictly talking about rap bars and wordplay, the 2 of them probably have like 2 of my favorite feature verses ever.
Yeah.
if I were to make a list.
Right.
Um, I
Career wise,
Yeah, career
very
wise,
different.
I think
It's
Kendrick
different.
obviously has a much more prolific career.
Hmm.
I will say I think Kendrick focuses a lot more on shaping and changing music and hip hop
Yeah.
as a genre. And it seems like J. Cole is more about the respect of the process and the past and what the art was at its core and how it
Yeah.
originated and like where what it came from or where it's come from when he grew up in the rap game.
Yeah.
Whereas like Kendrick isn't afraid to do something that's like a little more off bat and wild,
Yeah.
like
100%.
like an
Yeah.
Auntie Diaries that like if you were to put that out in the 90s, people would be like, dude, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Right.
But like
Yeah.
you could like in today's hip hop, Kendrick's like, I'm willing to push that boundary.
Yeah.
I don't foresee J. Cole putting out a song like that, or,
No.
or and just using that as a frame of reference. There's a
Right.
lot of artistic Kendrick songs.
Yeah.
But
But
anyways,
yeah, bar for bar,
bar for bar,
I
if you're
think
just
they
to
are
rap like against each
skill
other,
wise, they are I think the exact same.
yeah, I would agree with that in terms of bar for bar.
Career wise, Kendrick has an
Yeah,
edge.
for sure.
But
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah. Um, I think like to this point, I feel like that wraps up like what needs to be said about that as
yeah.
it stands. When somebody says something next, like then we'll maybe see where
Right.
it's going. But I feel like we've
It's
covered
yeah.
where it's at.
Right.
Um, let's get back into the album here and talk about the features. J. Cole obviously very famous for triple platinum with no features
Yep.
on Forest Hills Drive. Did have a few features here, a few on the off season, and obviously on projects in the past as well. Um, for me, I felt like this was kind of one of the weaker aspects of the
Mm.
album. Like Absol sounds cool. Ari Lennox, I think, on the title track or on the first track sounds great. I think Bass sounds great as well. But I will say on an album like this where it's not, it doesn't feel like, I don't know. I feel like J. Cole's given us this kind of layout of like the albums that we're dropping and like we're doing, Forest Hills Drive, we're doing KOD, we're doing the
Yeah.
off season, we're doing the fall off. This wasn't really in it. And so like I do feel like it's kind of this mixtape insert in his discography that's
Yeah.
like maybe not quote unquote a true album release. I don't know how to say that without it like sounding like I'm not taking it seriously because I am,
Right.
but um I feel like on a project like this, it could have used a lot of feature support. Like I don't feel like it needs J. Cole storytelling life throughout the whole thing. And I think there's
Yeah.
moments on that prove that, like the I'm blanking on the name right now, but the track with Central C and Bass, HYB,
Hmm.
like it doesn't really feel like a J. Cole storytelling necessarily. It just
Yeah.
feels like getting together, having a fun time, making a fun song like that.
Right.
And I just think for someone who has access and ability and has collaborated with so many great artists recently,
Yeah.
like a Travis Scott, like a Drake, like a JID, like, he's just got all of these other artists, even like Summer Walker or Nicki Minaj that he's collaborated with recently. Benny the Butcher, he was on his album a couple of years ago. Um, I just don't think he utilizes too many collaborations on this project that would have made for great features and
Yeah.
moments on the album. Where I do feel like a lot of the other features, like Central C or, even Gucci Mane, I think Gucci Mane's on the first track, if I'm remembering
Yeah.
right. They're just kind of forgettable presences on the album.
Right. So I was actually super happy with the features. Oh wait, what
Mm.
did you rate it?
Oh, I gave it a 6 for
Okay.
features.
So I went a little bit different. I ended up giving it an 8. Um the only feature I didn't really like, and I don't remember his name, but it's like the first dude feature, like that you get, not Gucci Mane.
Young Dro,
That might be him. But I
yeah.
was just like, no.
What are you adding to this
Yeah, I
song?
was like, in fact, I think you've made the song worse
Yeah.
somehow. Anyways, um, my favorite features like easily Absol. He
Yeah.
Absol's crazy. Like
Is he
that.
is he beefing with Kendrick now? Because they were
That's
like,
Kendrick's homie.
I
Dude,
know.
I saw that and I was like, "There's no way Cole did that."
Yeah.
But then I looked it up and like they've collabed once before, so it's not like
It was out of the
we
blue.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's weird on a
it's
project
a
where
little
he's
too
taking some
close
shots.
time wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't think Absol really cares.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but dude went in. Like, I think he had the better verse on Pie.
Yeah.
He popped off. That man's a walking double entendre. Um, but because it was a random surprise album that just dropped, I think that's why I'm glad that there weren't all of these other huge artists.
Right.
Like just a couple of the guys that you've been like hanging with maybe recently, or like, oh, you really like this track. Like there are times where like I don't care to get huge other features.
Sure.
Like they're cool and like don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but like I more expect that with projects we're aware of. Like
Yeah.
we are aware of what we're getting ourselves into. Like
Yeah.
you probably already know the track list or who's exactly on. We didn't know this album was gonna exist.
Yeah.
And to me, all the features popped off, minus that one dude. And so like I was just very happy that even though it wasn't all of these huge names, they
Yeah.
still came and did a great job on an album that like could
Yeah.
have went very poorly for Cole, or as it's doing right now, very well for Cole. So
Sure.
I think they just added to this album in the
Yeah.
most positive way.
Yeah.
So that's why I enjoy
Yeah.
the features.
And to each their own, you know,
Right.
I see that perspective for it
Yeah.
as well. Well, let's talk about just the enjoyment and the replay value of the album. Because like I said, going into this, I just didn't know how much I was going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Just like feeling like it was going to be a lot of throwaways. Um, I will say there's a good amount that I'll come back to, and a good
Right.
amount of songs on here that I enjoy. It's certainly not the most replay value that I've gotten from a J. Cole album. Yeah, you know, I think there's a lot of other more memorable tracks in his discography, and a lot more playable albums top to bottom from him. I I do think overall it's a really solid listen, but there's only a few tracks that I really think are like what I'd consider quote unquote his best work. But I think I ended up giving it a 7 for replay value.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I went back and forth. I ended up giving it an 8, but back and forth from a 7 to an 8. It was cool. Listening through the first time, I just really did not know how I felt. Like there were 2 songs off bat where I was like, "No, this is a great song."
Yeah.
Second time around, like I was able to enjoy it a little bit more. So I kind of expect that. Like maybe if I were to listen to it in a week all the way through again, maybe I'll be enjoying it more. I think I was being so critical and trying to like think
Analyze it.
right.
Yeah.
But now that like I can just listen to it and not be that way, I'll probably be able to enjoy a little bit more. Plus, I mean, like it's J. Cole. It's not like we were just gonna get a really bad random album. Yeah, like that. I don't expect that.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I gave it an 8. It was enjoyable.
Sweet. So overall, what does the album work out to?
So it's like right above a 7, but like right below a 7.5, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
Like
so
a good 7.
Mine was essentially identical, a little closer to a solid 7 though for me.
Yeah.
Which is about how I'm feeling about it.
Like a nice a
yeah,
solid 7.
Yeah. I told you when I was 3 tracks in, I said so far it feels like the third best hip hop album I've heard this year.
Yeah.
That's what it's been so far.
Yeah.
For me.
I off the top of my head, it might be second for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second.
What was first?
I really like that Benny the Butcher album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You gave it a listen.
Yeah. I forgot. I didn't tell you.
You didn't tell me.
Yeah, no.
It's really solid.
Yeah. I got to give it another listen. But Yeah, so I
You
would
feel
do
like
that.
it's
Yeah,
up there with that one.
yeah.
Okay,
I'll
for
have
sure.
to I'll have to put my list out. But I
Yeah,
think second.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pick out a best and a worst track on here at all?
Worst track Fever. I felt like it was,
Okay.
and not even because it was a bad song or
Yeah.
anything like that. It's either that one or the one where didn't like the feature.
Really? I thought Pricey was super good.
Uh, it was just because of the feature.
Okay. Because
Not
Ari
Cole
Lennox,
is
I think,
cool.
sounds the girl on the chorus. I think she
Yeah.
sounds super
Wait, is
good.
that the first song?
Yeah.
No, the not that one. Then I don't know what the song is. Anyways, we'll stick with
Okay.
Fever. We'll
Okay.
stick.
Yeah, yeah.
It just
That's
felt
it feels out of
random.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool
for
song.
sure.
If you were to just place it as a like a
Right.
summer
Right.
single, would have been great.
Yeah.
It would have been a great song. Probably would have been one
Yeah.
of the best of the summer. But
Yeah.
it was just out of place. Best, I'd probably say Pie, either Pie or I really liked High and Wabbits.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
that it was the soundbite, man. Yeah,
It's just classic. Um, I'll say I think for sure for me the worst one. Um, well, maybe not for sure because I could see Fever as well.
yeah,
Um, I said Trade the Truth in Ibiza just
yeah,
because it's like standard J. Cole, fairly standard beat. Like there's just nothing all that special on it. It's like I've
yeah,
heard this same iteration basically three other times on
yeah.
this album alone.
Pretty forgettable too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, for me, for sure, the best song was Crocodile Tears. I think it's
It's
so
a good one.
crazy.
It's a really good one.
Um, it gets me in like it gets me super hyped up, and I
Yeah,
think he sounds great on it. It feels like not just a continuation from the off-season J. Cole, which is a
yeah,
great version of J. Cole,
right,
but like it feels like him doing something new and in a different direction a little bit
right,
while still keeping top tier bars and lyricism and just sounding hungry and on top of the game.
right.
Like it's what I wanted J. Cole to put out, and so I'm super happy with that one.
I feel it.
All right.
I like it.
Well, third best rap album for me.
Second
Second,
for now.
first, up there somewhere for you.
Oh no, definitely second.
Definitely second
Yeah,
for
definitely
you.
second.
Uh, you feel like it's a lot better than the Metro Future.
Dude, here's the Metro album. Here's the J. Cole album.
Okay, all right. To
Yeah.
to each their own, I suppose, man.
Sorry,
Um,
Asher, that
yeah.
you anyways.
Well, that's gonna wrap up the J. Cole discussion for today. Um, we'll be back next week with another episode, whether it's on Kanye or
Maybe
Bryson
Bryson
Tiller or
Tiller.
whomever. Metro and Future drop again this week. So
Maybe Drake comes out finally.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
probably not.
Who knows? Well, we'll see you then.
Yeah, bye.